Hello everyone, my name is Bhuvan and I will be discussing about file system interface in x86 and its comparison with Linux. So first we will discuss the differences in these two file systems and then we will pick two features that are implemented in Linux but not in x86. Then I will give an in-depth explanation on how to implement those features. So the explanation will be such that once you follow this video, you can get working with your features right away. So for the different components of file system, the buffer cache is one. So x86 uses LRU replacement policy implemented by linked lists, but Linux uses more complex policies and also has an efficient implementation of that. And logging system of x86 does not allow concurrent updation. And there are some more issues. Linux takes care of all these things. So x86 supports only inodes and pipes, two types of files, but Linux has many more. And there are also some other features that are given here. Linux being an actual system is obviously more complex and thus provides many more features. But for this video, we will restrict ourselves to two features, namely file opening modes and this maximum file size. So currently x86 has a maximum file size of 70 KB. We will try to increase that. First, the file opening modes. So XV6, you can see that XV6 defines only four modes: read, write, and create some. And this manual page of Linux shows the modes in Linux. So it has append, binary, and trunc modes in addition to these modes. So our goal will be to implement the append and trunc open mode. And also we will rectify the working of redirect operators in the shell. So namely this write operator, the single arrow one, and the double arrow, the append operator. So xv6 has the abstraction of file and it is represented by this struct file. So a file can be of two types, pipe and inode as discussed. So if the file is of type inode, it has an inode pointer, and also there is an offset variable here. So offset variable is the one where the file will write by default and from where the file will read. Now we look at the code modifications required. So firstly, we have seen these four modes. We add two more modes, otrunc and append. So once these modes are defined and these are macros, so we can pass these macros to the file opening mode. And if we want to specify two modes together, we can do that by OR operation between them. So now we look in the sysfile.c. It has the sysopen function which opens a file. So it takes an argument path and the opening mode. So this is the screenshot of the sysopen function, and this in sysopen function we will add this new pseudocode. So at the very end, after sysopen has performed all its operations, we will check if the open mode was otrunc. If so, then we will call the itrunc function. It is located in the fs.c file. And if the open mode was oappend, so we will set the file offset to the very end. So this is the pseudocode. You will have to implement the actual code, which is a little more complex than this. For adding the support of these arrow redirect operators, we need to look at the sh.c file. It contains all the functionality related to shell. So it has one parse redirect function. So what this does is, after parsing the command, it opens the file in a mode. So we just need to specify the modes correctly, and that will ensure the working of these arrow operators. This is because we have already implemented these modes in the previous slide. Now we look at the results. So you can see this original one. So here we cannot append the text properly, but in this newly modified one, you can append it correctly. So you will get to see these results after implementation. Similarly for the write operator. And now we see the maximum file size. So the current implementation of inode is that firstly some metadata, and then there are 12 pointers to the direct data blocks, and there is one singly indirect block. So we plan to add these two fields at the very end of the structure, double and triple indirect. Now we see the problem of locating the block. So these blocks are numbered sequentially. Firstly, these 12 direct data blocks, and then comes the single ones, 13, 14, and 128 more, and then the double ones. So if we want to locate, suppose this 142th block, so we do that by first subtracting it from 140 and then dividing it by 128 gives our first index pointer to the double indirect block, and taking modulus gives us the pointer in the single indirect block. So we will use this in our code implementation. So xv6 has a bmap function which does the exact same work defined in the previous slide. So it takes logical disk block number and gives the address. So read and write both call this bmap function. So they just say that I want the 100th block. So bmap takes care of locating it, and also it has to allocate a new block if it is not already allocated. So here is the bmap function, the original implementation in the xv6 code. So it takes two arguments, inode and the block number. So if the block number is less than indirect, that is indirect here is 12 and indirect is 128. So if it is less than 12, we can directly access the block and allocate it if it is required. And if it is less than 128, then we first look into the address block and allocate it if it is required. And after we get this address block, we index into it by the block number, and then we finally get the data block. So we will extend this functionality. This is the implementation for the double indirect block. So we will get to the pseudocode line by line. So if the double block is not allocated itself, then we allocate a new block. But if it is allocated, then we read from this block and we get the double indirect addresses. So first we need to divide bn by n indirect to index into this double indirect block. This is the same as discussed in previous slide. So by dividing we get to index into this double address, and once we do that we get the pointer to the single addresses, single indirect blocks by reading this double one. And once you get the single indirect blocks, you take the modulus operation, and then you can finally get the pointer to the data block itself. Note that here there can be up to 3 block allocations. If the double indirect block is not allocated, we allocate it first. If single is not there, we allocate it first, and similarly for the data block. Implementing this will give you a maximum file size of 8 MB. It can be verified by running some user sanity programs or some user tests by your own. And that is it from my side. Thank you very much.